This is our very first trip. This is our very first trip to the Holy Land. So if you've been before, you've been before. Now this is Brother Joe's 20-zillionth trip, 21st or so. But let me lead us in a word of prayer, and then he can tell you everything he needs to know and more, and that's all you need to know, okay? So let's pray together. Father, what a joy it is to gather together this evening to talk about the opportunity we have before us to travel to the Holy Land, to the land where Jesus walked, where Jesus experienced miracles, where Jesus died, where Jesus rose again, Lord, where Jesus is coming again. How exciting that's going to be, Lord, and I thank you for the privilege for these who have come together with us to be involved in this time. I pray that you'd bless our discussion, and Lord, meet the need of every individual here tonight. Thank you for Joe and Kathy, for all that you've taught them, what they're going to teach us as we walk together through this process. We love you and we praise you. We want to give you glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Let's just set that on the front row there for me. I'll steal the water bottle.
Alrighty.
Hey, good Monday. If Mondays are good, good Monday. So I'm glad that you're here tonight and part of this. We are doing the live streaming because we have people up in the Dallas area that will be going with us and others up in that area that are interested, and a few of our own church members. So we're doing the live stream tonight so that they'll be able to see it. Unless you want to be on it, just stay where you are. If you have to be seen, come on up for a minute. We'll get your picture, and then you can sit back down. But we are glad that you're a part of the trip. Let me tell you what this isn't tonight. This isn't a sales pitch. You're here because you want to go. We've never really gone into selling this trip to anybody. We just try to put the trip together as best as we possibly can. Over the years, we've learned, I think, the most effective way to do this, having gone so many different times. As I shared with you, for those who were at MIMS, who were at our meeting there, when I preached, I guess it was last time was a Sunday night or Wednesday night, I don't remember exactly. But I did say that this isn't a trip that we use for fundraising. A lot of ministries do, a lot of TV ministries do, and I don't have any problem with that whatsoever. But that's the reason our trips are anywhere from $500 to $1,000 cheaper than those people. It's not that you're getting any less. In fact, you're probably getting more in reality because the hotels we've worked with over the years and the people we've worked with over the years and the experience we've had in dealing with those people over the years. So we just want people to go experience Israel. And I had the people we've worked with for 20-something years in Israel ask me, why is it you price your trips so much cheaper, than everybody else's? And that was my explanation to him. But I wanted him to know, I said, we do it because we want people to experience Israel. The first trip I took reluctantly. My wife wanted to go. I did not. One is because she's more of a woman of faith and I'm a tight one. And we were very young at that time in evangelism. And we had another evangelist friend of ours, Dr. Mickey Bonner, who said, you guys need to go, you need to experience this. Man, the trip was, let's show you how old we are. It was $999. And I said, there's no way we can afford $999 times 2, And so we went. In fact, we had enough money cash to pay for one of us, and I literally borrowed $999 for me to go, quite reluctantly. But when I came back so different, so blessed, so incredibly moved by the whole thing. I says, we're going to take people to Israel. And we're going to start taking as many Christians that'll go possibly over the years. And I don't know, I think we're around 23, 24, maybe trips 25, somewhere in that range. We quit counting some time back. But every time I go, it's a fresh new experience, and it's a genuine experience. How many in this room have been to Israel before, all right? So we got some folks from MIMS and some folks from our church that have been, 3 back in the sound booth that have been, and going again. So those who've been, if it's your second or third time, you're going to still see so many things you did not see before. This is Pastor Gary Juarez. He's our campus pastor, our spring campus here. He went his first time last year, and I was trying to tell him, we'll even go to many locations that we went to last time, which is the obvious. You want to go to the Garden Tomb and those Golgotha and those places. But I said, we'll go to some of the same places, but we'll go to a different location at those places, like the Valley of Megiddo. We may be up on the mountains this time doing an overview of the whole end time scenario, or we may be down in the valley, in that place, Megiddo, or that city. So a lot of things we do different. Every trip we try to make unique and special. And there are so many discoveries, archaeological discoveries in the last 20 years that, we went on this last trip and went to several new sites that we'd never been before, even after being so many times. There's one site that literally just moved me to tears over there. There's that they found an ancient synagogue dates back to the time of Jesus in Magdala. Mary of Magdala was from, was where she was from, Magdala. And so they found a synagogue they've uncovered. They've put some facilities there for the tourists to come there. It is just a real, right on the Sea of Galilee, moving experience. So you'll be in places where Jesus actually was. You'll be sitting on the southern steps of the temple, and you'll have, as a part of this trip, one of the very best guides in all of Israel. I don't say that just because I've said it. In Los Angeles Times, I guess 15 years ago, put an article in there in Los Angeles Times that called her one of the top guides. They called her the top guide in all of Israel, and there was also another male guide that was number 2. And both of them are still touring. We have a unique relationship with her over the years that we've developed. She's family to us. When she's in the country, she comes spends time with her. When we're there, we spend time with family. Her kids come see us. But it's a unique experience. We were one of the very first evangelical Christian groups she ever led back in the day. She used to just work. She's an American citizen. She's also an Israeli citizen. Her and her family moved, I guess it was in the 70s. They moved into Israel. Her children, family all picked up. They're Jewish folks. They moved right from Boston to Israel. She doesn't have a real bad Boston accent, so don't worry about that. So you won't get all that Boston stuff. But we were one of the first groups, and she wasn't real sure about leading evangelical Christians. Most of the groups she led were, Jewish groups out of Florida and New York and stuff that would come over, and she'd lead those groups. But God just really softened her heart towards our group, and we began to introduce her to other pastors and Christians. Since then, she's led, Gaither groups, Billy Graham's groups, Franklin Graham's groups. She's talked to her 2 weeks ago, and she was leading a group with a private tour for Kathy Lee Griffin, I think so it was. So she does all kinds of tours, but she's don't tell her I told you her age. No, I'm going to not tell you. She'll get mad if I tell you. But she's a seasoned veteran. She's been doing it a long time. She knows the country. She's a historian, more than just a tourist, but she'll give you a lot of application. Where we go, we'll also have time where Denny will share with you some things about the sites that we're at, that I'll be sharing with you some things about different sites that we're at, and we'll have prayer times at different places that we're at. It's just going to be, we want it to be a touristy kind of thing, but we want to go much deeper than that and be a real spiritual experience for you, where you really experience the land. And so I've got some slides just to go over with you, just kind of give you an idea. Susan Marcus, you'll also, if you want to, you can go online and buy this book she wrote. It's called Enter His Gates. I think what's she selling for? Remember on the tour? $10, $20 each, something like that. But it's a book she wrote after working with so many Christians, and it's called Enter His Gates, Your Jewish Roots. And it's a great book. It's well done, it's well illustrated, but it's all about Israel, the land of Israel, and how it relates to Christianity. And a lot of people forget that Jesus was a Jew, so kind of shocking for some folks, I guess. But she does a great job. We'll leave out of Houston Airport, obviously. I know there are a couple here will be flying on the same flights with us, but not part of our group because they use their miles or whatever to get on the trip with us. But that's the schedule that we'll have. We'll leave out of March 27th, out of Houston, London, 6:55 a.m. This is a quick transition. We made it last time, but you get off the plane, you have to go straight through security and straight to the gates. Hopefully it won't be as crazy as it was last time we were there, but they'll wait for us, We're not going to try to go through it as a group. I'll give you clear instructions of where to go, because there's just so many people milling around. I said, when you get off the plane, just take your carry-on, go wait at the gate where we're going to depart from, and we'll all check in there together. And you'll have to go through security, because what happens, they'll run you through 3 or 4 different security lines, at London Airport there. And it's just Heathrow, wasn't it, we went through? We'll go through Heathrow. And when you come out of the airport, you walk down to the next security area. London's real strong in their security, I think even more so than Houston. They do security on every connecting flight, just like if you were getting on the plane for the first time. So they don't trust everybody else's security. They want their own. So they may x-ray your bag. They may unpack your bag, but nobody missed the flight. I think the flight took off on time, but you will be right at the gate at that time by the time you get over there. But Those who think might get lost, just stick with me. We'll get you through, all right? We'll make sure nobody gets lost. But so there's the different flight times. We'll be mailing you this information for everybody that signs up. You got that form a while ago. Let me borrow yours right quick, Mary. If you know that you made a deposit on this, be sure and get this filled out. Even tonight would be helpful. If not, you can scan it and email it back or turn it in tonight. Be most grateful. There's one at the desk if you didn't get one. It's basically all your travel information. When we book the flights, we make sure that they're booked according to what your passports are. If we can get that information even before, if you don't have your passport yet and you've ordered your passport, at least we'll know what's going to be on it. But we will need to get a copy of your passport. And I'll talk a little bit more at the very end about our passports and situations, what you can expect there and what needs to be taking place there. But as we go through the flights and stuff, we are flying British Airways. A lot of people out of Houston take United. How many people fly United? How many people love United? Nobody raises their hand. Since it went from Continental to United, it's not the same airlines, and even my friends who work for United will tell you that. I have one lady who used to be a member of our church that tells me, that her and another girl used to be stewards. She said, and her friend still flies that flight. She says, it's terrible. She said, I don't know what it is about, but I'll just leave that alone. But we use British Airways. I've used British Airways for years for Bulgaria trips, things like that. It's either that or El Al. Those are my two favorites. Turkish Airlines is another a lot of groups use, but I'm not real comfortable with Americans' relationship with Turkey, so we haven't used their airlines because it can go bad one day. And they have a tendency to reflect the attitude to you. And so we want you to enjoy your flight. You can ask Gary or those others who were on our flight last year. They treat us great. Service was great. They attended things great. Right now, all our seats are in economy. You can upgrade, it said in the bulletin, for Economy Plus. That is filling up quickly, he told me. And you can't there's 4 legs to the trip, 2 going over and 2 coming back. And I think only 3 of those legs are available now. So the flight coming home from Tel Aviv to London, which is a 3 or 4 hour flight, you can't get the upgrade there. And he told me, he said, in fact, he said there's only a few seats left in business class. He said, because a large group booked the whole bit for the majority of the business class. He said, if you want to try and get it, I'll try to get it for you. But there are some upgrade seats still in Economy Plus, but they're just for those 3 going over to London, London to Tel Aviv, and then once you get to London, the long trip back, you can do that. And the costs are in there. Since that leg is left off, it's about $75 or $100 cheaper. If you're interested, I'll find out exactly what it is, because it's not the $700 or whatever it was in the brochure for all of it. It's reduced another $100 and something for that leg. But I'll get that information to you. If you looked at the thing up there, all that blue stuff at the back half of the plane, that's all economy seating. The difference between that little middle section of blue and black seats, that's the Economy Plus section. You get this much more leg space. You get a little better recliner on your legs that comes up under your legs, where the back economy doesn't have a recliner thing just for your feet, but it only comes up so high, so it's basically parked there. And you get about this much on each side of you, that much more. If they are, it's just not worth it to me, and you're a tall person, I'll work on getting you an aisle seat, all right? But I'll need to know that. Just request that for me. My guy was really good about getting us the aisle seats we requested last time because we took some tall guys, all right? But if you do want that, just mark it down on your paper and say, I'm interested in getting the Economy Plus. So that's the airline. If you want up in the front seats, come up with some big money. We fly into Tel Aviv. Most trips will go Tel Aviv and spend the night. We don't. Most people are kind of wiry anyway. I say, let's drive to Jerusalem. And I'm probably one of the only groups, in all the groups that go, that does this, all right? But we found this to be, after as many trips we've taken, to be the most effective way to do the trip. I think most people, when they get into Israel, they want to taste the land real quick, the heart of the Bible aspect of it. So let's go to Jerusalem. That's our attitude. So we take people to Jerusalem. We're 4 nights in a beautiful hotel. I'll show you the hotels in just a moment. From there, we head for the Dead Sea, and I'll show you those hotels as well. So that's that second leg. Then to Tiberias from the Dead Sea there, which is down here, this lower quadrant, all the way up to the Golan Heights. We're on that eastern side there of the Golan Heights, then over to Haifa and Tel Aviv, and then we'll come back down there and follow the coastline back to where we end our trip up. But it breaks down to Tiberias 2 nights, Tel Aviv 2 nights as well. The hotels, those like who went with us last time, this is a great hotel. It's an older hotel. It's near the center of the city. So you're near Ben Yehuda Street, where a lot of people like to go, and some other things. And there's an old Turkish railroad station down there. They've turned into a place where you can go down and have it's touristy and it's got little cafes and coffee shops and things like that, and dessert places. You can go down there. It's a real quick walk from the hotel, or you can grab a cab anywhere from here. The Dan Panorama, this is I think it's a 4 or 5 star hotel, so all our hotels are in that category. The food is phenomenal, all right? You're going to get a real taste about everything Mediterranean at each of these meals. Now, as we said before, we don't cover lunches. You'll need to take your own lunch, but we'll stop at places where you can get lunch. We're usually going to be $10-12 a person if you get a drink and everything else. So kind of figure that. Now, if you're going to order more, it's going to cost you more. There'll be different options at different places. There's one place we went on the last trip. I didn't like it that much. I'll make sure she doesn't go there again. I mean, it was okay, but it was like, it wasn't, didn't fit my fancy, all right? But the food in the hotels will knock your socks off. The breakfasts are just big, and they're like big buffets of breakfasts. And there'll be an island over here with all kind of salads and fish and raw fish and Mediterranean kind of stuff, the Greek stuff, with yogurts and cereals. And there'll be an omelet bar, for that. And then there'll be obviously the things you just eat, the scrambled eggs and things like that. But they'll have all kinds of Mediterranean fare as well. Lots of breads of all kinds and lots of vegetables of all kinds. Olives of every kind you can imagine, So if you've never really eaten a lot of Mediterranean food, there's enough Americanized food in the mix for you, but it's really just it's a gourmet delight at these hotels. It's really great food.
Cereal and milk.
Yeah, and they even have cereal and milk if that's what you want, or sweet roll. They got some of that too. We used to provide lunch with these deals, but when the prices started going up, and I saw what they were charging us for the lunch, I said, we're not going to pay $20 a plate for lunch. We can go get something just as good for $10 or $12 to pay ourselves. So we'll give you plenty of time to eat. You can sit down wherever you want in the restaurants and stuff, and then we'll all meet at the bus at a certain time, get back on the bus and go. The Israel is a beautiful 5-star luxury hotel. Their food even tops the other. I mean, it's just, I hate to keep talking about the food, but it's good. And it's massive buffets everywhere and food islands when you go in. And this hotel sits right on the Dead Sea. It's really, and the Dead Sea, by the way, if you want to get in it, you can. Don't worry about drowning. You can't. You float all the time. So we'll be giving you time to do that. But the Dead Sea this is right near Qumran, where the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered. So we'll see all those events while we're there. This is just kind of the hotel list. But this is a beautiful hotel. We'll also be giving you, probably within a month or two, for those that sign up, a spa treatment list. Because this place is known for its spa treatments. Dead Sea is rich in chemicals and vitamins and minerals and all this stuff for skins and stuff. They have massages there. They do facials and everything. So if you want something, we try to get ours on the docket so that when we get there, we're not in a line. You had an appointment, right?
For a fee.
Right, it's for a fee. It's an extra, and it'll be listed what the fee is in dollars, and you can pay that. But it is one of the best Middle Eastern spas, in that whole region of the world. And I think Kathy went down and got a massage, and so things like that. So all kinds of nails and pedicures and facials, and I'm sure I need a little work, but we'll see. Anyway, so that's the Israel Hotel. It's just magnificent. It sits right out in the desert, Judean desert, overlooks right there on the Dead Sea shores. The next hotel we'll go to is called the Galilee Kinneret. The Galilee Kinneret is right on the Sea of Galilee. You can see the pictures there. It's beautiful. When you wake up in the morning, you'll see the sunrise come across the Sea of Galilee from your window. All the rooms are facing the Sea of Galilee. It's just beautiful. It's 4-star, but the food there is just as excellent, just as great. The breakfasts are great. So, we're a couple of nights at that hotel. So it's not go, move, go, move, go, move. We try to do it. And then as we leave, we'll come back down the shorelines of the Mediterranean, stop and see sites all the way back in that direction, tour during that day. Then when we get to Tel Aviv in the evening, we'll check in the hotel, and we have 2 nights there. It was 2 nights there, 1 night in London. I'm not a big London fan, all right? And so I said, I'd rather give people just a time to relax, enjoy what they've learned, to soak it up, kick back or just go shopping there on the boardwalk of the Mediterranean or whatever they want to do, snorkel, anything you want to do there. So there's lots of amenities that the hotel provides. So another place, great food, great service, great rooms. It's 5-star deluxe as well. So it's a beautiful hotel. And I tell you, each one of these I've stayed at multiple times, and I have never, ever been disappointed. And if there's any room problems or anything, they always take care of it. I mean, they're right quick on it, and they do a great job of satisfying their customers. The way it starts is March 27th, obviously, our departure date. This breaks down in the brochure, so I won't go over this much, but it's Tel Aviv. We get together, our group, Susan Marcus meets us, and we transfer on our way to a beautiful deluxe bus that we ride with the big panoramic view windows around it. And so you don't miss a thing. We'll have headphones that'll be available for everybody. So that you don't miss what people are saying, so that we're off the bus and they're telling you, hey, just telling you about stuff. You won't be saying, what'd they say? You'll have its own volume control on for you. So if you're like me, half hard of hearing anymore, you'll hear everything that's going on. You won't miss anything.
What about electrical connection?
Yeah, we'll get to all that. Yeah, I have that on the list too. So once we do that, the next day it's all Israel. First day in Israel, you'll load up on the bus after you ate too much breakfast, and we'll make you walk it off. All right, and that's a big part. Let me just say this right now about walking. If you're not walking, you need to start walking now. All right, because you're going to do some walking. It's just part of the tour. There's going to be some up and down walking. If there's a difficult time, we'll get the bus driver to take you to the next location if we need to do that. But like when we go up to Jerusalem, we start on the Mount of Olives, and we walk down that pathway where Jesus would have ridden the donkey down into Jerusalem. And it takes you right down the side of the Mount of Olives, takes you right down to the Garden of Gethsemane. And so we'll walk that walk. I'm not sure how far. It's all downhill, praise God. And it's paved, so it's a good walk. But you want some good walking shoes, and you want to start walking now, all right? And just start walking a little bit every day, because there'll be some days you walk, I don't know, a few miles, several miles, in Jerusalem. I think probably might have walked as much as 4 or 5 miles one day. But that was the big day, and but most of it's usually a mile and a half a day. But it's not all at one time, all right? You're going to walk a little bit, get on the bus, go somewhere, get up, walk a little bit, get on the bus. But it's best to be in half good walking shape, all right? But there's a lot that, I'm not going to go over word by word. You have the brochures in front of you that explain the trip day by day. But we'll be seeing all the sites in and around Jerusalem for several days. On the 30th, we'll go down to the Jewish quarter by the Cardo. We'll go up to the Western Wall. We'll probably go down there just up away from the Western Wall. There's all kinds of little shops to eat at. So we just tell the group, hey, whatever you want. There's pizza, there's burgers, there's falafel over here, there's gyros over here. If you want American, if you want whatever, just pick a restaurant and we'll meet down at this place right here when you're all done. So it's very safe there. And by the way, let me tell you this. That's always a big question about security and safety. I've never had anybody killed on any trip yet. I'm still alive. And the funniest part about this to me, and I guess you call it funny, when I was talking to the guy who works with me for years, his name is Gadi Cohen. When I talked to Gadi, I said, listen, why are there so many people in Israel these years? He said, because it's the only safe place to be. He said, nobody wants to go to London. Nobody wants to go to Paris. Nobody wants to go to New York. They're all coming to Israel because we're secure. When they come in, they're secure. Our borders have given us security. Our walls have given us security. I know that's a big debate, but they found security with that, stopped all that stuff coming in from the Western Bank. And so he said, it's just where people are going because they feel safer here. We've been there when there's been 2 wars going on through the years. When we were there when one war broke out. And we got on the bus, and she said, where do you want to go? I said, where's the war? I said, I'd like to get a peek at it. Anyway, safe to do that? And she said, well, they'll turn us around if you do. So we headed up for the Golan Heights up on the Lebanese border. And you'll be on that border. You'll be on the Syrian border. The only place you won't go down to, we won't go down deep near to Egypt. You'll get down towards that area. But the south is Egypt. So we're pretty much right on the border of 2 of the borders that are there. But it's a deal. We went up, and they let us through accidentally. And the reason they let us through is because we picked up a soldier. They'd sounded warnings that morning. They play what they call, call to arms kind of music. They have another name for it. But basically, if you hear this music on the radio, get your gun. It's marshaling music, they call it. And it's just a signal to the civilian population that are still enlisted, that's still serving, get your guns and go report. And so we start going, and I said, let's pick that soldier up. He's thumbing to his next down. And so I said, I'd like him to talk to our group because I'd be ready. We might do anything, okay? So we get him on board, and people start asking him questions, and he's just kind of leaning up there on the front, with a microphone, talking to the group, interacting with everybody. And we went on about 45 minutes, and they let us through another place, and they let us through another place. And we finally got him up to his post and let him off the bus, and the major stuck his head, what are you guys doing up here? So we just came to watch the war. He said, you can't watch the war. He said, go this way if you want to see what's going on. You'll get a view. So he pulled us off to a section up there. And of course, we're 35 miles still away from where it's really going on. But we're watching the jets fly over and bomb Beaufort Palace, where Yasser Arafat was or supposed to be. And we haven't done that since, so you'll be safe, okay? I won't take you to any wars if some breaks out. We'll stay away from it. I was much younger and a lot more stupid back then. All right? But there's just...
Don't change your mind.
Next day, we'll hit the Garden Tomb, favorite place. You just, we'll have communion there. We'll have a little time in the Word of God there. We'll give you time after communion to go in, view the tomb area, and then come out and just stroll through the garden there. It's like you step inside this area. The Methodists own this particular piece of property, and they've kept it up tremendously well, and they provide a little service and a guide service there, provide all the stuff for the Lord's Supper and stuff. But it's a beautiful time. You'll remember it, the rest of your life. You'll just whenever you're reading the stories, in Scripture, they'll come alive with pictures all of a sudden. Of course, that's my daughter and Kathy there on the left. And so that's a group probably from 10 years ago or more. I think, or probably 12, 14 years ago. Then we'll head out, when we leave Jerusalem, we'll head out to the Judean desert, the fortress of Masada. Have anybody familiar with Masada? If you want to go back and pull up on Netflix or Amazon Prime or something, the old miniseries that was on TV back in the 80s or 70s, Masada, with Peter O'Toole in it. If you can pull it up and watch it. It'll give you a tremendous background. Of course, our guide does a tremendous job up there anyway of just reliving the scene of what happened for the last Jewish zealots as they fought against the Romans. All right, and what happened up there. It was a fortress that it really was just a summer palace up on top of that plateau that King Herod built for himself. And they've restored so much of what was there from the steam baths. I mean, this guy was just luxury oriented, and you'll see pretty much the city walls are being reconstructed up to about 8-10 feet high, and the different areas. The archaeologists have done a tremendous job in restoring some of these sites. But we'll go there, and then from there we'll go to our hotel and have dinner on the Dead Sea down there. Next morning we get up and go to Qumran, familiar with the Dead Sea Scrolls, the discovery of the scrolls there. We'll visit that area. We'll tour the ruins that are there that they've discovered there. There were those first century believers. And we'll talk about John the Baptist, how he most likely lived at this particular site that we're at, and the reasons why. We'll talk about some of those things. So you'll get a lot of biblical history, but you'll get a real application of biblical history in this particular trip. And that's my mama, who's gone on to the real promised land now. And she's a sweetheart. She pretty much had a habit of going with us every time we went. She probably knew more about Israel than I did. She taught herself Hebrew. She's a tremendous Bible scholar. Loved Jesus more than we probably all corporately do. Amen. So we'll take a ride on the Sea of Galilee. You'll just love it. We had a great group we worked with this last year. They brought a fishing net and showed us how the fishing was done on the Sea of Galilee. They prayed God Bless America, or what was the song that's... the Lee Greenwood song, Yeah, that's it. They played that when they found out Americans were getting on the boat. And so it was just a fun time, a great time. Then we did a little Bible study out there as well. And one of the stories on the Sea of Galilee, kind of turned the boat off and let it just float out there. And just had a glorious time out on the Sea of Galilee. You'll enjoy that. Favorite time, obviously, is Jordan River. This particular site now has been prepared for people to do baptisms. First trips we went, we just pulled up beside the Jordan, got out of the bus, baptized the ladies first, let them get on the bus, put towels over the windows, they changed, and the men went down they came down and watched the men get baptized, and we let them get changed on the bus. So now it's much nicer. I think for $10 we get a towel and a robe if you want to get baptized, and I think we baptized 50 people there last time. And so that's a great experience if you want to be baptized in the Jordan again, or a second time, or a first time. They say, I've already been baptized. Yeah, but you haven't been baptized in the Jordan. So we'll be glad to baptize you. I'll wait out there with you and we'll baptize. We had a glorious time. They'll also shoot a little video there of the whole process, and they'll offer it to you. And I think it's $10 or something like that. It's worth the video. It's well done that they shoot. It's got music backgrounds, and they show everybody getting baptized for the group. So that's interesting. Then all these sites along the Mediterranean are just beautiful, from the amphitheaters where Paul preached to, the different areas and the different sites. So that's the hotel that we'll be staying there. Again, another angle of the hotel that we're staying on in Tel Aviv. But there's so many things that happen in between these big events and these different cities we're going to, where we're on the way to something, we'll stop and see something. There's so many different archaeological ruins that have been brought forth that are just phenomenal just to see. You know, we talk about walking in the steps of Jesus. There's going to be so many places you are, like on the southern steps of the temple. That's where Jesus stood. That's where he spoke. You know, it will literally, you're sitting there, you're feeling the breeze come across the Jerusalem city. You're seeing that there's nothing quite as, to me, as profound as that moment. And I can remember every time and every event I've done it. But to me, when they opened up, probably 20 years ago, they opened up the southern steps. They hadn't been completely uncovered yet. And when just sitting there, and our God does such a tremendous job, where she's talking about David standing on those steps, and she starts quoting from Psalms. She does a tremendous job of just marrying scripture, just not like on such and such date in 1220 BC, it was this happened. You know, it's very personal, very, very real, very biblical. All right, so you'll experience those things as well. And of course, it is an early morning. I don't know if you noticed early the flight times. You take them down again, you'll notice we'll get up early. I'll teach you everything you need to know how to get through Israeli security, because you will need to listen carefully. They are the best in the world, and they profile, and they interview you. The people walk up to you while you're in the line. They interview you in those processes. They'll interview 2 or 3 people just randomly out of the group. But I'll tell you, before we talk to them that morning, the breakfast is there, and I'll tell you what to tell them, all right? Because they want to hear the same thing pretty much from everybody in the group. But it's always for your security there, and I'm glad they do what they do. Like I say, they're the best at it. So we'll get on the plane, head back home. This time in London, we have several hours, 4 or 5 hours, I think, of a layover. So just find a place and get comfortable. There's restaurants you can eat something at, or just get a coffee shop, or there's thousands of shops. You know, if you can keep your wallet handy, you'll spend all your money, all right? There's plenty of shops inside that airport, and if you've been to Heathrow, you'll know what I'm talking about. Here's a couple things. Get your passports if you hadn't got your passports. Get them ordered now. With that, you'll need the basic things. You can go online and see them. You can submit them, or you can take them. I think some of the post offices still have even places you can get your photos, or you just go down to Walgreens, get a passport photo made, and they'll do them for you. You'll attach it, get it done. Look at your passport. If you already have it, make sure it's not going to expire within 6 months of the dates of the trip, either side of it, all right? They're just real picky in Israel about that, you know, not extending visas and things. You're not going to have to apply for any special visas or anything. Just have your passport. Make sure it's in good shape, and it's not going to expire within 6 months of the dates of the trip. If you haven't got it, it is an easy process, but don't wait, all right? Get started now on it and get them submitted and taken care of. Luggage tags will get to you. We'll send them to you. Everybody will have an identifying luggage tag. It'll have your name. Once you fill out these forms with your name and address and stuff on them, that's the information we'll use on the luggage tags that we'll print up for you. It'll be a nice little, real sturdy tag that you just wrap around and stick on your bags, and everybody's bag will have the same tag as far as the color of it, so that when we get to places, we see our bags coming off. There's usually some of the men are real good about helping pull off our bags, and our people come and identify them. We didn't lose a bag going or coming last time. Everything went great. But the luggage tags will help you really a lot. If you're worried about the size, the weight, and all those things of your luggage, you go to BritishAirways.com, go to luggage, and a little tab on there, and they'll tell you the size and the weights, all right? I think they give you 5 more pounds, in fact, than United does. So, but anyway, it'll have the dimensions and stuff. It's usually 1 bag per person, plus a carry-on and a purse or a briefcase. All right, that's the way it works out, most like airlines do. But it's standard 1 bag. Over that, they're going to charge you for that. But hey, you get everything you need for this trip in 1 bag. You can always have the hotel when you're staying in Jerusalem 2 or 3 extra nights that night. You know, hey, if you got to do some things in laundry, they're decent enough price, a few bucks, you know, per item, and you'll get them back. So I don't try. If I need some extra shirts, I know I can always buy a souvenir shirt. I can always do that. And I always get a T-shirt from the shop downstairs and stuff like that. So I don't try to overpack. Just kind of take notice of what you'll need each day. You know what you're gonna need to take. Remember, this is a group tear. Lots of times when you're can venture off on your own, you know, and go do things and that kind of thing. So we're not trying to run a prison system. All right, you'll have time to enjoy, you know, and do the things you want. But and just, you know, be cognizant of the times. You don't want people waiting on you when it's time to get on the bus and that kind of stuff. Because this group will embarrass you, I know. I can see you already if you're that late getting on the bus. So, accommodations, all the rooms. Well, this is part of the reason we need you to fill out the form. Every room will either have a king bed or two twins. All right? And what they do is they basically just push the twins together and put the little piece in the middle and make it a king. You never notice us that way, but it'll be a king bed. So, but if you are, just friends going together, then you'll need to prepare for that. So, but I need to know so they'll have your room the way you want it when you get there. So if you say we want a king, or it's me and my brother, we want the other beds, and we'll make sure it's that way. But we'll need to know that. Attire, got to have good walking shoes. It's a must. All right, just get you some really good, comfortable walking shoes, a couple pair of them. And of course, with me, it's always a pair of sandals. I got to have my sandals on when I'm in Israel. Got to walk where Jesus walked, right? So, yeah, if they're like, you want to be walking in them before you go, so you're comfortable with them, and they're broken into your feet, and your feet are broken into them, or whatever. So just get you some good. As I said, there are laundry services at the hotel, but if like say, I should have packed one more shirt. We're going to see. You'll have lots of opportunity to buy another shirt. You'll see lots of turista shops. Going through streets of Jerusalem, there'll be lots of vendors there. We'll give you, I think it's half a day free in Israel. You'll have time to do stuff if you want to do it. You can go down to the old city, or you go up onto the modern city and shop around up there. We'll point you in the right place, tell you where it's safe to go and how to get back and forth. You're really safe in Jerusalem, though. All right, so you shouldn't have to have any worries about that. She asked about transformers. I don't think you need to pack a hairdryer. Most every hotel has hair dryers. And if they don't have one in your room, just ask for one at the desk. They'll loan you one. So don't pack it, but you do need a transformer, Most of them will have a shaver connection for a 110 American shaver to plug in, but that's, in the bathroom. But most of them are European style. So if you just go to Google or Amazon or whatever, Walmart and buy a standard traveling kit for transformers, they'll have most everything you need in there. It'll tell you on the pack, is it European, Middle East? That's what you want, all right? Middle Eastern transformers. And, but they'll use those packs have everything. But it is a 220 volt, so you don't want to plug in, your telephone in. I think your telephone probably would charge all right, but I don't know about anything else, because most of those telephones are built for either or. But your devices, charging your computer, stuff like that, we'll make sure you have a connection for that. Travel insurance, we don't present a travel insurance, but your insurance company may individually have it, or there's plenty of out there, Travelers and some of the other insurance companies that are out there that offer it. American Express offers a travel insurance policy that's decent. If you have an American Express card, they'll probably give you a good deal on travel insurance. But they'll ask you how much is this trip, what are you paying for it, and what's included, and then they'll present you a price. Did you buy some last year? I didn't buy any last year. A lot of times I do, and I always recommend people to just in case something, because it might not be something that happens on the trip. It might happen before you can go on the trip. You'll be a few days out, it'll cover it for you. So it's usually worth the $75, $80, I think, that it costs. I think that's about all it runs. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back. It's been a while since I've checked it. Travel pillows, if you like to have one on the plane, of course, in the airports, you can buy those as well. The little inflatable neck pillows. My wife has one of those real soft, foamy sleep number pillows, that she takes on a trip. So if you want to do something like that, you just stick it on your neck. They don't say anything security about counting as extra luggage or anything. So you can just carry it on with it, and that's taken care of. A lot of people say, do I need to get shekels? You can spend American money. Everybody likes good old American money, especially with currency the way it is right now. They like your dollars. So you can pretty much shop anywhere for dollars. Don't get taken. Most people where we go don't do this, but sometimes people get confused, and they're trying to pay with dollars, and you tell them, can I get my change in dollars? They'll do it. But that's just always a good way to go. Sometimes at lunch, I think we had one place where people went at lunch and ended up paying more than they should. But I think it was an issue of them understanding what the other person was saying. So, if you don't understand somebody, say, excuse me, can you say that slower? Just tell people that they're very courteous. Tourism is their business. And that's why in Israel, especially, you have the Arab places we're visiting, and you'll have the Israeli places we're visiting. And those people have no problem getting along. They realize that their livelihood comes from the tourist. We will go into some areas that are more secure, but you'll be watched carefully. When we go into Bethlehem, you will go through the wall that they built there. You will. They'll bring you through. There'll be armed people at the gates and stuff. We'll take you down into Bethlehem if everything's cool and everything's good, and we'll go to the Church of the Nativity that's there, and so we'll visit those sites. If everything's cool and good, we're going to stay in Bethlehem and eat an awesome lunch at that restaurant there. It's Arabic food, but it's great food. It's grilled things and stuff like that you'll like. There'll be options. You'll have a buffet they can eat off of. So that'll all be good food. There'll be someone at points says, hey, you can come to Susan and say, Susan, should I order this or not? So, this is great food. Nobody's ever gotten sick at the restaurants we've gone to, except the first 2 trips we took. Those were my learning experiences of where you don't eat. Those are my learning experiences where you don't stay. All right, so the stupid tax has been paid on these trips already, all right? So we take you to good places, reputable places. We'll go to some shops. A lot of the shops will barter with you. When I'm in Bethlehem, there's a Christian shop there. Christians are facing tremendous persecution in Bethlehem by the Muslims. And so I always want our people, if it's opportunity to go and shop at that shop, I want us to go. I'll barter with them a little bit, but, I want to support those guys, and just help them out because they're persecuted on every side. And a lot of them have left, So those guys that are sticking it out, and I talked to the owner last time and been a friend of his for years, said, how much longer? He said, I don't know. He said, it just depends on what happens in the rest of the Middle East, just how much pressure we get. So you'll be there, and you'll get to meet some of those people, and you'll meet some great people. They really are good folks. And then we'll come on out the wall and head back into the city. But even then, I just do some things that are just safe. There's not been a lot of problems in recent years. They used to go down there, and if you were in a Jewish bus, had Jewish symbols and writing on it, some of the kids would stone it and stuff. So I don't even take the bus up to that anymore. We park in an underground parking lot about 4 blocks away, and nobody ever sees you. We get that part of time, so we just get out walking as a group. So never had any problem doing that. But again, I haven't sensed any real major security issues. All right, I've covered a lot of ground. Let's take some questions if you have a question, if we haven't answered it just yet. Yes, ma'am.
It's awfully hot there. There's not much shade. What about the temperature?
You're going at the very best time of the year. All right, cool nights in Jerusalem, take a sweater, light jacket. All right, rest of the time, it's just that time of year, a long sleeve will do you, or even a short sleeve shirt. Like I say, you're moving, you're active. In the middle of the day, it gets a little warmer. You can kind of Google that information as well, say what's the temperature like in the spring. But that's the time, it's the most expensive time to go, all right? Now you tell me, right? But it's the most beautiful time to go. And by expensive, I mean, it's about $100 more or $150 more. Well, it's about $800 more if you go with somebody else. But like I said, we try to keep it at a reasonable place. When you go and you're there, we went in November, the last trip, and everybody said, oh, you're going to freeze to death. We never had a problem. God just really blessed us with great weather. And worst of the worst is you might get some spring shower there. They were told us that November is more the rainy season than spring is. But usually the Judean deserts, if you're there at the right time in the spring, it's blossoming. It just blows your mind. So it's a great time of year to go. It's the evenings you might need a light jacket, just a little real light jacket or a light sweater or something. We'll be giving you a hat when you get there that says international travel from the company we work with. We'll also, ask you to wear that at least the first couple of days so I can spot you when you're in the crowd, especially in Jerusalem. I don't want to lose anybody if I see those white hats bobbing around. If you don't like their hat, take your own hat, just for sun and shade on your head, so wear a hat. The rest of the weather, that time of year is just really good. If it's June and July and you get on the Dead Sea, that's where it'll be the hottest. And that's the lowest place on the earth, too. So you're down in a big hole. So it gets warmer there than it does in other places. Again, the clothing issues, be comfortable. I would say most of the time I tell while we're touring, when it's free time and stuff, put on your shorts and stuff like that. But touring, especially some of the more sacred areas, as they call them, they want you to have at least sleeve shirts on, especially the women, and either long pants or skirts, Otherwise, you won't have any problems. But we've had people at different times go, and then somebody will wear a sleeveless tank top or something. We go to some sites, they'll come out and they'll put a shawl on you that's been on 15,000 other tourists. So I don't know how clean it is. So I'm just warning you in advance. Pick your own attire. You'll be glad you did. Most times not. Or just even take your own little shawl, with you in your bag. You can do something like that. So when you're there, just throw it on over, just put it in your purse, whatever, like a big scarf or something. You can wear a bathing suit, shorts, T-shirt.
And make sure they're clothes that you don't want to keep.
That's right. You're going to throw them in the trash when you walk out of there.
It's black mud. It is like.
Going in. But there's some places we put them in, it's not like that.
But it's very rough on the feet.
Yeah.
So, the salt. So
Yes.
wear shoes and clothes you don't want to.
Yeah. Especially because when you get out of it, there's some showers there you'll be able to go to and clean up. But when you get out of it, it's every kind of chemical. It's salty. It's lots of minerals. Of course, that's where they make their money because that's what sells all the skin treatments to people come all around the world just to go to the Dead Sea to get in it and use the creams and soak in it for their skin. And I mean, it's extremely medicinally well for you. It's good for your body. So you can do that. Yeah, they won't dry out.
We have that experience.
So yeah, it's something, an old pair of shorts and top you can throw away when you're done and be done with it. Yeah, jeans are fine. I wear blue jeans most of the time I'm there. That's what I wear. Occasionally I might put on a real casual slack or casual type pant. But I dressed up tonight. He's telling the truth. And I was teasing him. I said, Mims folks are going to be here tonight. You're going to need to wear your tie.
So you cannot wear any pants like this?
They can be like, what do they call these pants like that? Yeah, capris. Yeah, those are acceptable. Usually the biggest issue would come when you're in Jerusalem itself, because there's so many sites there. And like if you can go to the Western Wall, you're going to deal with those Orthodox Jews, and when you come up the wall, you're going to have to put a yarmulke on or a cap on. And they have them there. You can pick them up, put them on. Or you can, and they never say anything about just if you wear your baseball cap up there even, but you have to have your head covered. Women make sure that there's no shoulders showing. Every once in a while, when we feel courageous, we venture up on top where the Dome of the Rock is. But that's kind of the temperature of what's going on. So but you'll see it's right there above the top of the wall. So you'll be at those sites. You'll be all around them. You'll be in different areas where you'll see from different views, different things. But you're not going to miss anything in your first trip. But when you get home, you're going to miss it all. You're going to want to go back. I'll just tell you right now, there's this addictive nature to it. Of just if you love the study of the Word and you love the Bible, and you love Jesus, it's just something that I say, I think I could do that one more time. This is your third trip coming up, their second trip, second for you? Yeah. Once you guys get to know, we have about 5 or 6, maybe 8 people from out of town that are watching via our live feed tonight that'll be here. Get to know each other. Last time we didn't put name tags on people. If y'all would like a name tag, at least you could wear the first few days to get to know each other. We'll provide name tags on the trip as well, so that when you're there and you're all together, you get to know each other a little bit better. So since we got different groups coming from different parts of the world, we'll do that. Other questions? Yeah, we always tell people to take some ones with them for tipping, but your tips are covered. Yeah, lunches, 10s and 20s, and they'll give you change in dollars when you ask for it too. So they've gotten really good at that in the last few years. So 10s and 20s, but my wife's big on getting those $1 here for there, because there's always some little vendor when you're sitting around waiting for something comes up and say, I'll give you those 5 for $1. So that's for usually all the in-laws. You didn't hear that, Stephanie. So anyway, there'll be opportunities, by the way. We try not to encourage a lot of shopping while we're doing the touring, because you'll have plenty of time for the shopping. Otherwise, if I tell you, especially around the Mount of Olives, and the Garden Tomb area, there's a lot of vendors down there, and the tourists are coming. They're really working them hard, and you might get something you didn't buy. First trip down there, they sold me this nice leather Israeli belt, and I paid the guy $10 for it. Trip number 1. Stupid text number 2. But I got back to the hotel room. My guide told me, she said, that's not leather. She said, it's paper. She said, in about 6 months, it's just going to deteriorate. So, live and learn. So we'll try to direct you and warn you about things like that. But that doesn't happen. I've never had it except around there. There's just so many streets over there. They'll sell you, if you buy it coming out, that's cool. If you buy it going in, it's going to cost you 5 times as much. All right, they're going to sell you 50 bookmarks for $5. And they're nice little bookmarks with little flowers on them and stuff like that. And they're little plastic kind of things. And you've seen this before. But when you come out, it's the same 50 bookmarks for $1. So it's just amazing when the price changes. But there are places you can get really quality stuff and nice stuff for souvenirs, and we'll give you time for those things, because everybody wants some different stuff. We'll try to, in Bethlehem, they have the olive wood, and The people there are very honest in their dealings. You'll find one piece of olive wood, and it might be a camel, and you can buy it for $5, and there's another right beside it for $50. And the difference is in the craftsmanship and what was done. We bought a nativity scene there one year, paid a couple $100 for it, $100 for it. They have one there that's $10,000. You know, it's a massive piece. It's made out of olive wood. The craftsmanship on it's incredible. I mean, I don't know who could ever afford it, but you know, I did lust after it a little bit. So until I heard the price. But I mean, then they just kind of grades up, and they'll let you know when you go in. They'll give you an explanation about what's really mother of pearl and what's plastic and those kind of things. So we won't take you to a place you won't get stung. You know, and if you want to buy the cheap stuff, you can. All right. I mean, and there goes the gifts you just got to give to somebody. So we'll take care of them as well.
That's the deal. There'll be places where there might be a street vendor and he's got beautiful wood necklaces. If you've got day kids or you've got little kids in your classroom at home, if you're a teacher or whatever, they're like $5 for $20 or $4 for $20. And you think $25 a piece, they're worth it. You know,
Yeah.
they might not last forever, but they're pretty and they're wonderful keepsakes to bring home.
So there's all kinds. We'll kind of deal with those things day by day as we go different places and give explanation. I mean, you'll find a baseball cap for $15 as Israel or something. You walk out of the garden team, you get it for $5. So. What'd you say?
Susan's pretty good about
Yeah.
which vendors to go to. She invited some onto the bus.
Right.
The guy that made the
Yeah, we had a guy, you know, you have to be careful, especially it's like anywhere going to Mexico or anything like that. When you buy anything, it's gold. You know, you want something that has an official stamp on it. It's Israeli stamp because the government has a stamp for what's really gold and what the carat is. It has to be marked properly for tourists specifically. And so we have a guy we've worked with for years who makes everybody a really good deal, you know, on the products because he's getting a group sale, you know. And if you want, no pressure, he'll show you what he's got. I think he came to my hotel room and they wanted to come up at 7:30 to 8:30. He was up there. They wanted their name in Hebrew. They could have it, and he brought it to us on the last day. Took it all back to the shop, produced it all, and came back the last day and gave it out to everybody. So we had some bracelets and necklace made, I think, and nice. Yeah. Got a ring. So. Yes. Right. Right. And everybody takes credit cards too. Make sure you use your credit. If you use a credit card, that your company doesn't hit you with a currency exchange. Capital One doesn't, I don't believe. American Express will. Yeah. Go ahead, Joseph. Yeah, and then let them know that your dates you're going to be gone too, so if it comes, it won't bounce out. So that'd be a good deal. Yeah, but you'll be in London, you'll be in Israel. So that's always a good thing. I do with our credit cards company. I travel out anyway. I let them know those things. Going once, going twice, going 3 times. All right, there are 8 spots at present that are still available if you have friends or people that you want to know about it. All right, so those are available. Probably starting a week or two, we're going to spread the umbrella out a little bit farther, so they'll probably go pretty quick. But if it's people you know that are fun to travel with, you know, you want to be around them. It's people, you know, it's like people from your church, people from our church, that kind of thing. So we try to make this available to in the very beginning, and then we open it up to others. But we've always had a really good response and great people, you know, that go on the trip. I've only had one experience where we had this one lady who just disappeared. She'd call in regularly, but she just didn't. She just kind of did her own thing.
If we put up the deposit tonight, is there a time limit of when?
Yeah, all that's spelled out on the back of the brochure. All right, so it's all out there. And I will say, up to a certain date, real close, I think all you would lose is I think about $100 a deposit. But it does show the next dates when they're due and things like that. What will happen once we fill it up? There's going to be other people who come in. They'll say, because it seems always there's 1 or 2 that can't go at the very end because something happens that you can't avoid. Somebody's ill or somebody's in the hospital or family member situation. That's why I like to recommend people to get the travel insurance. Just worth a little extra because you never know what's going to occur. So get that.
In case someone gets sick over there, I want to know what.
Yeah, well, if you've got your insurance card, whatever, take that. But there's clinics, there's hospitals. They got great medicine there, you know, in Israel. And they got great doctors and stuff. But we've never had anybody other than a little stomach something somebody got one time. So I always tell people, I don't know what you're trying new foods and stuff, so do two things. One, take one for one and one for the other. One for diarrhea, upset stomach, one for constipation. Always nice to have those kind of things ready. Somebody always does it. We stop at a drugstore, run in, talk to the pharmacist, get them what they need, take care of it. You don't have to have any special shots or anything like that. So
Do you think our insurance here won't work there?
it will. Most of the time, your insurance will work wherever. But you
might have to pay out of pocket and we get back.
right, then they take care of it, or put on a credit card and then have them cover it. But that's usually because most insurance companies, they'll take care of those kind of things. And yeah, and just talk to them what it is. And they may sell you a little add-on for your travel. A lot of the travel insurance company takes care of your medical bills up to a certain amount. You know, they'll fly you home, and all that's usually part of your travel insurance. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. A lot of people don't realize, you know, that you get benefits that are out of it. So,
So we've never really encountered anybody that had to have a doctor or anybody that's.
me, I'm the only one. Last day of the trip. And I'll warn you, if you do decide to go swimming in the Mediterranean, keep your mouth shut. Because there are parasites in the water, and I just happened to get one. And it hit me. We went to Paris from there for 2 or 3 nights on that year. And when we got into Paris, I thought, okay, I'm not feeling well. And it started and it lasted for 3 months. You know, I lost about 40 pounds, and I didn't weigh that much to start with. I barely weighed 40 pounds then. So I was quite sick and said, just going to have to, you know, not too much. We just give you the basic medicines, but the parasite's going to have to pass, you know, one way or the other. And so finally, it passed where I did. It came from the Mediterranean. So, but, you know, if you get in, yeah, people splash around. It's fun to get in. I'd do it today, get in. But you know, I just came up out of the water that day because I knew exactly what it was. When I came up and I opened my eyes and stuff, big wave just hit me right in the face and just took in a big, made me sick at the moment when I took in a big gulp of water. So that's the only time I've ever gotten sick there. Oh, I'd go in it tomorrow. You know, if I had an extra day there, I'd probably go scuba diving. But they like you to have 24 hours before you get on a flight. So, but that's why I won't do it. But I would if I could. So.
For the last day, when you have free time until you, will you have some suggestions?
Yes, absolutely. I'll have Susan give you some suggestions. When you're on that on the shoreline there's hundreds of places. If you just want to walk down the main street that's in front of the hotels there on the beach, there's just shop after shop of shopping. There's also some interesting sites you might want to go see down to Jaffa, which is old, where Peter was out of, and those things like that. Down there, there's this cab right away if you want to go down and see something like that. I just don't like people getting on city buses in Tel Aviv. That'd be my only thing. Don't get on city buses. That's where it hadn't happened in years, but that's where it's happened before. Usually they like to attack a city bus in Tel Aviv for whatever. You've seen the news stories. So I just tell people, take a cab. We'll get 3 or 4 people together and take a cab. You know, you'll share a cab.
Is there anything that they don't want you to take a picture of?
Yes, and you'll be told.
Okay.
We're going to some security areas, and they'll say no pictures out at this point in time. In the airport, they don't like. In the security, when you're coming through customs, they don't like you taking pictures there.
You didn't mention Petra. Is that close enough for an excursion?
No, that's usually you have to do at least 3 days to 2 days to do that Petra excursion. They just want to talk to me tonight, don't they? So we won't do. It's in Jordan. You got to cross Allenby Bridge, go into Jordan, go through all those exercises, coming back in out of Jordan. So this trip, we've done it several times in the past, but we won't be doing it on this one. So it's a single country other than London, obviously England, a trip on this one. So Petra, you got to get on a donkey and ride down that long path and go down to where the ruins are. So, but it's a fascinating place. But it is in Jordan, so all the way down to the Red Sea and make the journey down. And that's a whole day to drive it. 12 hours. And that's not a fun, long drive to make in Israel. And then once you get in there, it's another 3 or 4 hours to get over to Petra. And then they get you off and put you on a donkey for another 30 minutes, 20 minutes. So I'm about wore out by that point. I got old. I don't know about you guys. I know some of you hadn't got there yet, but but it's not a hard trip if you just get in decent shape walking, all right, and some good walking shoes. Because between the extended walks, there's rest times and lunch and things like that, and you go back and walk some more. I don't know of any real walking trip that wore me out on that. because there were what we would do. Even when we got off at one spot where we get off, and it's Caesarea, which is on the shoreline, Mediterranean there. We do a lot of walking, but we go, we walk, we talk, we sit down, we see some things, hear some things. We get up and go walk somewhere else, and we sit down again and talk. And, so there was a lot of walking on that day and a couple of days in Jerusalem. But like I said, there's a lot of intermediate times. Sit down, rest, or go eat, and get up and walk some more. So, but there's also a lot of riding. But you will have, like I say, the head pieces, and that's all involved in the trip. It is two things. Extremely fun, especially when you're a bunch of folks that love Jesus. It's just a lot of fun. And then two, it's deeply, deeply inspiring. And those who've been know what I'm talking about. It's just deeply moving. There'll be times that you're almost in tears. I'll tell you this one story, then we'll close. I had a young man whose parents bought him a trip. He just graduated seminary. He wanted a car. They didn't give him a car. They bought him a trip to Israel. And I don't know if they gave him a car later, but they said, since you graduated, we think this is what would be the best thing, graduating seminary. Well, when I met him at the airport, first time I met him, introduced myself, and he just didn't seem happy. I said, what's up? My parents bought me this trip. I really need a car. I said, let me tell you what. I said, you just come on this trip, have a neutral mind at least. Just put your mind in neutral. Forget about that. And let's just see what happens in your life. And I said, somewhere in the next day or 2, 3, 4 days, I said, I'm going to ask you a question, and I just want an honest answer. I'm going to ask you about what you think. Do you think it's worth coming? Do you think this was worth the investment your parents made? He said, okay. So we're there, first day, go up like you're going to do, up on the Mount of Olives, after eating breakfast, take the long winding road to the top. We get out, overview the city. It's a beautiful place for sitting there, and we'll talk, and we'll share. Susan will explain the city parts and the Eastern Gate. You'll see it, and you'll see the Dome of the Rock up there. You'll just see this Zion Gate. You'll see she'll lay it all out before you. This beautiful panoramic view. And then we'll walk down that long trail I was talking about, and we'll go in to the Church of All Nations there. And it's a Catholic church, and they built, it's there, it's in an olive grove, all right, it's there. The olive grove, the trees in that grove date back to Jesus Christ, all right, those were trees. Many of those trees were actually there during when Jesus was there. They have a specific way they date olive trees, and we'll explain that. She'll explain all that to you, but they were there during that time. So we go in there, and we have a little time where you just let people, you go in there, just walk around, and it's very quiet in there. Even when there's large groups, they keep it relatively quiet in there, and you can take pictures in there, and they have this big rock. They say, this is the rock that Jesus prayed over. Who knows, all right? But anyway, it's a beautiful place, but it really brings it all to character. Then we go over to a private garden, because we have Susan as our guide. She has some connections. They don't let a lot of people in there. And it's owned by the Catholic Church. And we go over across the street into this little private area, and we'll have our own little time with the Lord. And our own little prayer. And we'll give you time there to say, hey, why don't you take about 15 minutes, go find you, your wife, or friends, whatever. You can go by yourself and find you a nice place, a quiet place in the garden, just spend some time with Jesus. And so we'll have that time. So we're coming out of there, and I notice he's just got tears walled up in his eyes. You can tell he's been crying. I said, I need to ask you about that car. I said, do you think this trip was worth that? Oh, this is changing my life. He said, this is just what I needed in my life, So that's kind of impact it can have on you, because it just brings it all to life. What we know already in our heads and hearts. And I don't care how many times you see it, I'm still all teary-eyed when I come out of there, and the experience of it all. So beautiful time, beautiful place. Amen. We'll have a cop on our trip, right? Jennifer Allen's at the soundboard. If they let her out of the country. The FBI, she's been working with them. She won't tell me what she's doing with them, but she's up to something. But she'll be on the trip for what, your 4th time? Yeah, her 4th time. She's be with us, but they won't let her pack, I'm sure of it. But you'll get to meet her, and Karen's back there, and Joseph and Stephanie, my son, daughter-in-law. I know they want to go. They just went on the last one. I think they're too poor to go again. Dad's not copping out for it this time. But it's going to be a great, great time in the Lord. And Dr. Autry, this man, and Angela, they are some of the finest people, and you've already met them. And his I've got some special things where I'll be letting him know that I want you to do this here and this and this here, so that he'll have some, teaching times as we go through the process. Because we like to stop and decide, learn historical value. There's something we also want to take a little time and spend to talk about the spiritual aspect of it and how it applies to us today. So we'll share those times together. We'll talk about some different events from the past to the present to the coming of Jesus. I mean, you're going to get it all right? Because if he doesn't come first. But that's okay with me. We'll get your deposit back to you, whoever's left around. All right? I won't be here to help, but we'll leave instructions. All right? Praise the Lord. Any other questions? I know you're ready to go, and it's been a good meeting. Yes, ma'am.
My last word would be to begin now to pray that you don't miss a moment. 10 days is going to go real quick.
Yeah. 11.
We're going to go through places that you're going to think, did we just what I think we did? And so, if you begin to pray now, don't lose a moment, and if you need melatonin to help you go to sleep, because jet lag, you can buy a little bottle from Walmart, and some melatonin so you can sleep at night, so during the day, you're cognizant of everything that's going on around you, so that you don't miss a thing that Susan says, a thing that Brother Joe shares, or Brother Denny shares, that you're able to, not only that, but you can hear the Holy Spirit as He speaks to you, because it will really make a difference. If we're not careful, my first couple of trips, it just zipped by, and I thought, what did we just
Was that the Sea of Galilee?
and so it's like you have to go back and just try to recapture it in your mind. But you begin now. You've got a few minutes to pray. That's why don't let me miss the thing that you have for me on this trip. It's a trip of a lifetime. I'll never probably do this again. I don't want to
Don't want to miss it.
of it, so it'll stay with me.
Amen. Amen. But that was a good idea about the melatonin. Let me say something. For those, melatonin, 10 milligram tablets, extended release. Get you a little bottle at Walgreens. It helps with the jet lag the first day or two. Take it for about an hour before you go to bed at night, first night or two. And melatonin is a natural substance your body produces when you go to sleep. Sometimes the jet lag interferes with that. So first night or two, you won't get the best rest in your life, but you'll get rest. But then you'll get caught up in a day or two with the clocks, and it's sometimes trip once you get back is harder for people than when you got there, which is good, at least I think so. All right? I'm not pushing drugs, okay. Any other questions? We'll get dismissed. All right, there are other forms out there. If you're going, please fill the form out if you haven't filled it out, and leave them with Gary or Sophia here. We'll get them. If you have your passport with you, I'll make a copy of the picture page now, so we'll have that information off that. The British Airways wants to have that copy of the picture page as they do tickets. They'll put your name on a seat now, but when it comes time to ticketing, 4 months, they're going to. That's back when that's related to the times that are part of the deposits and the payments and stuff. All that's synonymous with that. That's why it's broken down. So when they tickets, when we usually collect the rest of the money, because they want the money for us for some reason. We've already put down deposits for 50 people as it is. And so we match deadlines with them. So we'll try to work as close as we can. So, all right. If you want to make a deposit tonight, if you hadn't made yours, you turn it over to Gary as well, or Sophia as well, or Kathy. $300 per person on the deposit. You can pay it online, but they're going to hit you with a little charge. All right. Credit card companies and PayPal, they do that. But you can do it online through our website. That's it. It wouldn't be such a big deal. Say, Pastor Joe, it's only $9. You ought to eat that for me, right? Multiply it times 50. So, all right. Praise the Lord. God bless you. It's going to be a great time with the Lord. Amen. Praise the Lord. Like I said, if you do have your passport with you, give it to these guys. I'll make a copy for you real quick.
Thanks, sir.
What do you think? Ready to go?
Blessed be your name in the land that is plentiful, where your streams of abundance flow. Blessed be your name. Blessed be